Welcome you back to Bill Edwards Stadium. It's the bottom of the first inning, and it is our honor to be joined by one of the greatest pitchers in New York Mets history, Dwight "Doc" Gooden. First of all, congratulations on the number retirement, much deserved. And, if you want to run for office, at least in New York, you could certainly do that. Doc, I got to ask, we didn't see the high leg kick on the first pitch. What was that about?
Oh, the high leg kick is gone. First of all, thanks for having me on here. This is some great softball right here. I love it. And I was debating whether I go over the top or underhand. Since we're here for professional softball, so I got to go underhand. So I was just very lucky to throw a strike. Yeah,
and I think a lot of people out here are wondering, and we're curious too, your connection to the New York Rise. I know you've got some friends from the Rise organization. Courtney Weish, I know, is a close personal family friend too.
Yes, Courtney actually trained my daughter for 2 years. She's going to high school now in Maryland, at Spalding High School. And she also goes to Maryland, University of Maryland with my son, Dylan, who plays football at the University of Maryland. She's great. It's good that she's pitching. I get to see her and tell my daughter about it. Got some pictures with her. But mostly being a relative, being a resident here in Long Island, I like to see this league does well. And hopefully they be successful. And I told the players before the game, it's obviously that they're playing, and it's a privilege that they're playing, but it brings a lot of responsibility for them to carry the message, and hopefully MLB gets behind them and support them as well.
You mentioned that you have a younger daughter who plays softball. I want to know, what does it mean for you to see this crowd and the environment that they're bringing around professional softball?
Well, it says a lot about the fans to come out here and support this, because you never know. When I first heard about the league starting, when I was talking with Jeff, it was good to see, because my older daughter, she played in college, but after that was it. So giving these girls the opportunity to fulfill their dreams after school and play, and I have a younger daughter now, I say now you really have another opportunity to further your career if you really want to do this. So now it gives her extra incentives when she's in high school, not just about the grades, to go to college and maybe one day play for the Long Island Rise.
I have to ask, being a pitcher myself, you threw a baseball, but I just watched you throw a softball. What's the difference? Which one's harder?
I think that softball, it felt better throwing from that motion. I think throwing the softball is probably harder to hit than a baseball because of the distance. Mm-hmm. Definitely at my age, turning 60 shortly, I like this distance. But I'll stick with baseball for me. But for you guys, I give you guys a lot of credit for what you guys do. It looks easier than what it is, but it's really tough. I have a lot of respect for you guys.
Thank you. Happy early birthday to you as well.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So, you mentioned the differences between baseball and softball, but I feel like there's a lot, at least, that many athletes can have similar thoughts on. Maybe it's through thought process, maybe it's through different preparation. What do you like specifically about some of these newer athletes today? There's a lot more data out there, and how they go about their preparation.
I'll tell you what, now I see that there's no off-season. Talking to a lot of players and going to spring training, these guys come to spring training and they're ready to play. During my era, you take the 2 months off. You take November, December, and some of us take January off, and you come to spring training to get in shape. These guys now come to spring training in shape and ready to go. Athletes are bigger, stronger, and faster. It's just amazing. So the work ethic is definitely there, and I see a lot of it in this sport as well, so it's good to see.
And we talk about softball being in its infancy too, and I know that you mentioned MLB there too, but I think another cool thing is that you've got former Major League players out here like yourself. I know Mookie Wilson is a part of this as well, kind of getting behind it. As an older generation, what advice would you give to a younger generation trying to grow something from the ground up?
I think the main thing is respecting the game, and what I mean by that, when you put that uniform on at any level, it's a privilege, because a lot of people want the opportunity to play and don't get the opportunity. So carry yourself in a professional way, respecting the game, the umpires, the opposing teams, and making the game grow. Being there for the fans to sign autographs, as well as the kids. I see you got the younger teams out here today, and leading by example, just playing hard. And when you have the eyes on you, because you never know who's watching, that's how you get the support and more people to come out and support it, because I think it's a great product that's on the field tonight.
All right, I have to ask now that this is really a treat for me. I know that there's some atmosphere over here too, which is cool to see with the kids. And unfortunately, I wasn't around in Shea when you were pitching, but just those atmospheres and the electricity for you, how much of an extra jolt did that give you every night?
Oh, it was nothing like pitching in Shea Stadium. And for me personally, I remember getting 2 strikes on a batter, and the fans would all be standing up clapping, wanting to strike out. Where it would work to my advantage, because if the umpire didn't call it a strike, the fans are going to let him have it. And the hitters don't want to go down looking, so it worked to my advantage. But there's no better feeling than pitching in Shea or even Yankee Stadium later in my career. So a big ups to the fans for playing a big part of my career.
And that's always the thing that whether it's cousins, uncles, fathers, there's a lot of houses divided up here, obviously. So it's a little bittersweet to see the success that you had, I guess, from the Met fan portion of the family for the success that you had with the Yankees. But can you take us through that night? You know, the no-hitter, when did you know you had it? And then when Jeter makes the final catch, the elation, I'd imagine.
Oh, wow. So to make it as short as I possibly can, I was supposed to go home and be with my father, who was having open heart surgery the next day. He had been on dialysis for 15 years, and the doctor said he probably wouldn't make it through. So I had my plane ticket to go home. But that morning I got up, I thought that he probably wanted me to pitch. And I remember as a kid, him training me and my nephew Gary Sheffield. So I told Joe Torre I was coming in to pitch. He said, go home, take as much time you need, come back when you're ready. I said, no, I'm going to pitch. Then I called my mom. She said, no, you have to come home. Your dad needs your support. You have to be here. And I actually hung up on my mom because I was feeling guilty. So that whole day I was feeling like this cloud over my head, not knowing if I made the right decision or not. And the first 3 innings of that game, I was standing in the walkway between the dugout and the clubhouse, sometime tearing up, wondering my dad's going to be okay. Not to the 6th inning when I looked at the scoreboard and you see no runs, no hits, no errors, when I realized I had a no-hitter going. And I was able to focus on the game. You know, when Sorrento popped up for the last out, nothing against Wade Boggs, but I wanted Jeter to make the catch. He's more reliable at the time. Make the catch, and I'm jumping up, and the team's carrying off the field. And all I can think about is my dad going to be okay. A year before, I was out of the game. Earlier that season, Joe Torre took me out of rotation. And so just pump my hands. Can't believe I'm doing this in Yankee Stadium when the Mets wanted to cut ties, which I understood. The next day I take a ball from the game home to my dad. His own life support, and turned out to be the last game he saw me pitch. He passed away after that, but that's what made that game so much special.
No, that's an amazing story, Doc. And you know, from that to now in your post career, what was that like when you get the call from the Mets and the Cohens that they're going to retire your number, and what that day was like as a whole?
Oh man, that was surreal. I mean, I don't know if it, like the day that they had the ceremony, it hit me where you're celebrating with the fans, my kids, my grandkids, who never saw me play, get to understand what that was like. But to be honest, I don't know if it's still really sunk in yet. I mean, I was at the game when I was playing the Yankees last Tuesday, and to see your number up there by Willie Mays and Darryl Strawberry, Keith Hernandez, my teammates, it's just a dream come true where you still get water, teary eyes thinking about that, where I've come from, because not knowing that day ever happened. And I remember when Steve Cohen called me and was telling me that, first call you want to make it to my dad, who's not there, but I was able to regroup and share that moment with my kids and my grandkids. And I mean, I'm still just blown away by that. And the fans played a big part of it. I'm not just blowing smoke, but like in my speech, I told the fans, when they see that number, when they take their kids, grandkids, whatever to the game, I want them to look up there and say they played a part of it, because they did. They played a huge part of it.
They still want you to pitch for the team, for the record. No matter your age, Doc.
Well,
they'll take you.
You have to shorten the mound now. The older you get, the further the mound gets. Because, I mean, can't do it now.
I have to ask you, too. I know Let's Go, Mets Go was the song of 86, but that was after you guys won. What's your thought on what the Mets are having this month with OMG, Grimace? I'm not sure how much you're keeping tabs on that, but your thoughts on that?
I like it. Whatever it takes to get a win. In sports, you're very superstitious. I don't know about softball, but baseball, you're superstitious. And they're riding. It's working. Stay with it. Hopefully they keep singing it. It's great. I like to see them do well, so we'll see what happens.
Did you ever, or was there ever a thought in that 86 clubhouse, or even when you were on the Mets, to have a post-game concert after a victory? And how would you have taken exception to that if the other team did that?
It's a new era now. Same thing with the bat flips and, pitchers pumping the fist. Totally different game now, different generation. Obviously, in my time, none of that stuff took place, so I tip my hat to them. Like I say, whatever works, let's ride it out. But it's just a different era, and I'm sure before my time with the Bob Gibsons and Nolan Ryans, nobody's even going to get out of the box with those guys. So it's just a different time. So I'm happy for those guys and glad they're doing well.
Even though it's a different era, the game, I think, is still so much the game. And you don't become one of the very best unless you have a very strong mindset and you're a competitor, which are also what these women are. Talk to me, what separates being a good pitcher from being a great pitcher?
To me, always, and I tell this to kids, when you don't have a game, you don't have practice, what are we doing to make ourselves better during that time? Whether it's watching film, working on your mechanics, continuous success with the strength, work on your weaknesses, whatever that takes. Spending that time doing that on your side day in the bullpen, what have you. And I always felt something inside me that pissed me off against the other team. I wanted to be pissed off, but uncontrollable pissed off where I could go out and compete against them. Even when I faced my nephew or friends that I grew up with, they were enemies to me at that time. That's the way I approached it. There was no fraternizing, none of that. We had good team chemistry. We had problems within ourselves. We kept it in the clubhouse. And to me, that's what makes a great player and a great team.
When you look back on your career, it's easy to just hear the emotion in your voice of how proud you are of it. What advice would you give to these women currently playing on just enjoying the moment?
That's you're exactly right. You got to enjoy the moment. enjoy the play. The team spend time together away from the ballpark. That's how you develop friendships, because you don't know how long this game's going to take you. When there's an injury, some people get released, but you can develop friendships that last a lifetime. And you never know who's watching. Always go hard for the younger generation. Show them that you have fun, you can play hard, and you do something that you really love. And the way you show that passion is playing hard. And when you put that uniform on, go out there like it's a privilege to wear that uniform with pride.
We've been talking a lot about Courtney Weish and just the power and explosiveness she brings on the mound.
Yes.
You got to know her in a different way as she taught your daughter. Can you kind of give a little bit of light of who she is off the field and how much she inspired your daughter?
Oh, she's a great person. My daughter loves her. My daughter wanted to be here today. I just left from Maryland yesterday, but she's in camp trying to get ready for high school next year. Courtney cares, a lot of energy. She was out there with these big group of girls every day on time, talking to them, working them, explaining to them. And like sometimes you have coaches that say, okay, let's do this and that, but she explains why you got to do this and why you do that. Into condition, and she cares about them as people. She will call Milan, my daughter, sometime at home just to check in. Right after COVID hit, she just wanted to make sure her grades were good. Most coaches don't do that, so big respect for Courtney, and I'm glad my daughter got to work with her. And I hope that she has a great career here.
Well, and I got to ask you, too, your early impressions of the New York Rise and the events that they're putting together.
Tell you what, I'm overwhelmed, and I have to be the first to admit. On my way coming here, I didn't expect this. I didn't expect the crowd to be as big as it was. I didn't expect the game to be as fast as it was, and these girls to be as athletic as they are. So I apologize to this sport. I'm very impressed, and I'm going to do whatever I can and anything in my power to help support the game and hope it lasts and keep going.
Yeah.
It definitely deserves it.
Yesterday, when you talk about the crowd, it's been amazing. They sign autographs after the game. It starts at home plate, and the line goes all the way to right field.
Wow.
You have seen the way that baseball has absolutely exploded. It's become so much of America's sport.
Yes.
What do you think people need to know about softball for first-timers who are getting into the game, kind of like you just said, the professional side? Why should they come out to these games?
I'll say give it a shot. Bring your kids out. Enjoy the game. Before you judge, come see it for yourself. It's good to watch it on TV. That gives you a good perspective. You can't make it out. But now the weather's great. There's no excuse to come out, support these girls. And I guarantee you, if you like sports, you're going to enjoy this game.
One more before we let you go. Prediction for this game.
I'm going to say the Aces. I'm going to say 6-3 Aces.
6-3. Okay. Going with New York on this one.
Oh, New York Aces, yes. Even though they play my Florida team, I was born in Florida. I always say I was born in Florida, but I was raised in New York. So go to New York.
All right. Dwight Gooden, it was a pleasure.
You too.
Thank you so much.
Thank
we go
you
to the
very
second.
much.
Thank you. Okay.
We go to the second on the Varsity Media Sports Network.